So obviously you covered a lot about what critical race theory is in the present or in the event. But so just to clarify, I want to ask this specifically. Is critical race theory a curriculum?
No.
Okay. Is critical race theory a defined set of beliefs or an ideology?
It is a perspective for analyzing.
And so like people who participate in the field of study that makes up critical race theory, do they all believe the same things?
What critical race theory allows us to do is look at systemic representations of Black folks as being subhuman and inhuman, and therefore can be justified as subservient and chattel, is built into the very ways that we teach people. The critical part comes in is when we deliberately and intentionally question the sources of our information. And that's what's missing. And I hope that at least some of that came out, is for people who resisted the 1619 Project, who really weren't that excited about, all this racial reckoning that came after George Floyd's murder, the fact that 1619 is now being, those people are not going to be convinced that that's not all critical race theory. What it really is conversations about race. For example, that race is a social construct rather than a biological fact. That's something that people who are engaged in critical race theory and social justice work have accepted as a common a reality, and it's biologically, it's scientifically proven that race is not a biological fact. So yes, there are some principles that are fundamentally accepted, that systemic racism exists, that racism is not just acts of individual prejudice. So yes, there are a set of core beliefs. And one of the things that I didn't harp on tonight, we talked about a little bit with these competing narratives about what is America. Dr. Martin Luther King talked about this in his essay, his speech, The Other America. He said there are two Americas. There's an America that experiences milk and honey and opportunity, and there's America that has just the opposite. And we talked about that a little bit with the exceptionalism. Not only are individuals exceptional, but we look at our country as exceptional. And if you challenge that in any way, then you're somehow unpatriotic and you don't appreciate. And it was James Baldwin, I referenced him multiple times tonight, author James Baldwin, who says, I critique America because I love her and I want her to be better and to do better. It's not because I hate being here, but I don't like the experiences that I have. I don't like seeing people like me being lynched and then no accountability for it, which we have years and hundreds of years of lynching and people weren't held accountable for it. So those are not interpretations. Those are not opinions. Those are historical facts. And until we can deal with the fact, then we can't move to what Toni Morrison was saying, is that, rather than life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, what about, the pursuit of meaningfulness and integrity and truth? I hear all the time in the work that I do, if we stop talking about racism, it'll go away. Well, if a person has cancer, does not talking about it make it go away? In fact, talking about it can potentially make one able to better deal with it and also have others more empathetic toward the fact that the person is suffering. So we have historically talked about racism as a plague, as a disease, and to talk about it is to get more people to not only learn about it, to witness it, but potentially to act against dismantling. What's at stake here that we try to demonstrate is this is not really against critical race theory. Critical race theory is a very specific context. What is at stake here is anti-racist work that identifies that whole list of things that we had on that slide there. Those are very different questions.
Right.